setting. A communication access real-time translation provider in a legal setting performs real-time translation as an aid to communicate for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And I think we covered that with Whitney or whatever. So, I got her to come in and speak about it because I don't really know. I mean, I'd be lying if I say I don't really know anything about CART. I don't. I mean, all I know is that they provide a service that's completely different from what the reporter does. And you'd have to take her CART class to really understand what I'm talking about because, and I don't want to state this wrong, but they don't get it like verbatim. Everything's kind of like a roundabout.
As long as the true meaning of the...
Yeah, of what they're saying comes out. So it's, it's a little bit different, but it's harder. So, I mean, your translation rate has to be ridiculous. It's way high. So, and like I said, I've had some students who thought it was a fallback. No, I don't think this court reporting's for me, so I think I'm just gonna do CART.
They showed me the screen with the multi-screen, and that was enough to be like...
Yeah, it's crazy, and and like she showed you guys on that video, I mean, she'll have 2 and 3 screens up going, doing different things. So it's way intense, way. So I'm really not going to go through the CART stuff. I think she covered most of that. So communication skills, real-time translation CART in a non-legal setting. So there's one for a legal setting and a non-legal setting. So I'm not really going to go through the CART stuff. Okay, I think she covered all of that, when she was here. Okay, and once you get into CART, you'll go through all of that. If you decide to go through CART. Guidelines are providing uncertified rough draft transcripts. The National Court Reporters Association realizes that in some cases, court reporters are providing uncertified rough draft transcripts in either paper or ASCII form to parties involved in litigation, either in the courtroom or deposition setting. The National Court Reporters Association suggests the following guidelines be used when providing such services. These guidelines are intended to aid a court reporter when providing uncertified rough draft transcripts. Generally speaking, uncertified rough draft transcripts are provided by court reporters who use real-time translation, but other court reporters are also providing uncertified rough draft transcripts as well. These are not mandates, but rather guidelines by which a court reporter may determine the propriety of his or her conduct in relation to the litigants, their counsel, the court, allied professions, or the public. 1, it should be noted that an uncertified transcript is provided. There will be 2 versions of the transcript for one proceeding, the unofficial certified and the certified version. So, you're obligated to let them know this is not a certified copy. So some things may be different in the certified copy. Okay? 2, an uncertified transcript may only be distributed by ordering parties to the case. It should not be made available to the public, including news organizations and other non-participants. Now, so in the OJ trial, and they're wanting, we're just going to get an uncertified copy. No. If they want it, they can get it. They can buy it like everybody else. And that was daily copy. It was daily copy, so I mean, it was being cranked out every day.
There was probably more than one court.
There was 4.
there's 4.
I think there was 4. Yeah. So they would do certain segments. I think they would break it up into 2 or 3 hour segments. The 2 hours in the morning, the other 2 hours leading up to lunch, 2 hours after lunch, and then the 2 hours bringing it to the end. And then if there was more, then the one reporter, I think from the beginning, would come in if they were going to stay late or something. So money. If you ever get a chance, I think one of the magazines, I can't remember which magazine or whatever wrote an article about the court reporters that did it. Yeah, read that if you get a chance. 3, a court reporter providing an uncertified rough draft transcript should perform the task undertaken by him or her in a professional manner, observing all rules, laws, and orders of the court relating to the proceeding. 4, a court reporter providing an uncertified rough draft transcript should keep informed of technological and other advances and improvements in the skills and methods of his or her profession and strive constantly for self-improvement. 5, a court reporter providing an uncertified rough draft transcript should not perform any service under terms or conditions that will compromise in any way his or her impartiality or exercise good judgment or skill. Yeah. 6, a court reporter shall take steps to ensure that no one would mistake the uncertified rough draft for a final certified. So that's where, you would put the watermark in or put the stamp copy that it is a copy. An uncertified rough draft transcript should include a header or footer on each page stating that it is an uncertified rough draft transcript only. Yes. 8, a disclaimer and/or form, such as the one attached, should be transmitted as a cover sheet or cover sheets with which uncertified rough draft transcript stating and the uncertified rough draft transcript cannot be quoted for any purpose and may not be filed with any court. 9, where possible, all untranslated steno strokes and conflicts should be resolved before an uncertified rough draft transcript is provided to the party. Yeah. So like when you go in and you start the transcript and you don't know whether they want it or not, whatever. So you're just going in, putting speaker identifications where you're not going to leave it attorney 1, attorney 2, person in red, person in black, person with hair,
All
you
those
know.
untranslates.
Yeah, and all the untranslates, conflicts, stuff like that. Okay? It doesn't have to be, perfect, but you don't want to leave steno in there. Okay?
I had a question. It said you're supposed to offer comparable services to both sides. What if one of them wants to say we'd like an uncertified rough draft and another one says, has it ever happened where one will order an uncertified and one wants an actual certified copy? If one orders a certified copy, must the other side also?
Not necessarily, because, if you go take a deposition, the turnaround thing is probably gonna be a week, on the certified one. Unless you can get it out quicker, but usually the turnaround is usually 5 to 7 days, 10 days, or whatever. So if the guy's like, you know what, I want it right now, I'm taking a trip, and this way I have it so that I can review it on my trip, okay? But you're gonna crank out a certified copy anyway, because somebody, whoever took that deposition, is ordering a certified copy anyway. So, they still, it's still gonna be cranked out.
Do they have to, I guess it doesn't even say in here they have to purchase the certified one as well if they purchase the uncertified?
No,
Okay.
no. But if it's the person taking the deposition, they're going to, because usually they're the ones who are paying for it. So if they just say, you know what, I don't need a certified copy of that, just give me an uncertified copy. Well, then the page rate changes, I can promise you that, because they're not gonna get the cheaper one for that.
Because I was gonna say,
Write that down, because that's
so
gonna
what
be
happens-
another question you can
okay,
ask.
That's what I asked, like, what if the
Yeah.
ordering party gets through and they're like, you know what, I just want a rough draft on it,
Yeah.
I just took this whole thing
That's,
for you.
yeah, that's fine, but, you still have to pay for it. Okay, broadcast captioner. And that covers captioning too, like doing the news, doing the, legal debates, stuff like that, anything that's on TV, so we're not gonna get into that. Backup audio media. Due to the complexities that may arise from the use of different forms of backup audio media, whether analog or digital, NCRA has developed guidelines to aid court reporters in the use of this technology. The latest innovation involves technology that may have been developed for computer-aided transcript, CAT software, which follows for the simultaneous digital auto recording of judicial proceedings, often referred to as auto synchronization and more commonly known as backup audio media. So that's what it is. The software now that we have has WAV files, and the WAV files are the audio stuff. So really, you don't count on that audio. I mean, you shouldn't count on that audio. You know, you should be writing like, I'm having a bad day and whatever. I mean, this thing is picking it up. No, don't do that. Okay? Don't count on that audio because, I've done it before where, and I had a little external mic. This was back in the day before Eclipse, but I had an external mic hooked up to my recorder for my cassette, and the cassette was rolling, but I never saw the thing jumping, and I never even looked at it until we were probably about 15, 20 minutes into the deposition. I looked down, and it's like, that thing's not moving. So it's like, hang on guys, hang on just a second. Okay, what's up? I had forgot to turn on my external mic. You don't turn on that external mic, that tape is just rolling. So for 15, 20 minutes, there was no audio to it, zero. And it's not hard. It's, please state your name, state your address. This guy, he had his curriculum vitae that he read into the record. He had a copy of it, so I mean, it was good. I mean, and it wasn't like I really dropped anything, but some of the stuff in there was a little bit technical, but I could, I asked him for a copy of the CV, and it was okay.
Because sometimes there's misstrokes that, as hard as you try, you can't figure it
Yeah,
out.
and you have a shadow on something that may look like something else, and we've talked about it too, about punctuation, and how you can take a sentence and punctuate it 3 different ways, and it has 3 different meanings. So that's really what the files are for. Making sure you have your speaker identifications correct, and making sure that your punctuation is correct. And that words that it sounded like, oh, that's what it was. Okay. So it's a backup. But I mean, if you had to read it back, you still have to read it back. So it's not like you depend on that WAV file to read it back. No. Okay? So, and it's come a long way. Like I said, we used to do it all on audio cassette. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like now, and especially for my court, because I did it for 16 years, 17 years with an audio cassette. And they called and said, hey, we want that hearing from October 24th, 2013 in the afternoon. So here I go, play, fast forward, play, fast forward, and you're going in the document trying to find, where they're talking about, a Chevrolet Capri. So, you can search for Chevrolet, and every time Chevrolet comes up, and then you try to find it, and then fast forward to there till you get to the spot that they wanted. Exactly. And back then, that was the only thing we had. So, I mean, that was the way that you did it. Now, I mean, the WAV files, you put your cursor right where you want it, push play, that's where it starts. Super cool.
Judy Jenkins was
Awesome.
showing me that in court we were doing. She's like, yeah, anywhere. Just clicked it. And she started it.
And it starts right there. Amazing. Cool. Come a long way. Long way. And the clarity is phenomenal. I mean, you buy these little external mics. I mean, mine is kind of one of the nicer ones. A little expensive. So I have this little sign up there, don't touch it, to sit on a tripod and whatever. And, lo and behold, everybody wants to go up there and touch it,
It's like, what paint sign?
Yeah. So I want to put some electric wire on it, and inevitably, and everybody's trying to speak into it because they think it's the external mic for the courtroom. So, Anyway. Okay, 1, if the backup audio media is made available to any party in a case, it is the responsibility of the reporter to ensure that no confidential or off-the-record discussions are contained in this release recording. Guys,
Even
that's
under the
your work
audio?
product. So, giving that out, no. I mean, unless you're court ordered to do it, but, you know, I have attorneys that have come up and said, hey, you know, or actually I had a guy that I took his deposition, and on the errata sheet, which is what?
It's the correction sheet.
Correction sheet. On the errata sheet, this guy had a page full of corrections. So the lady, you know, that I was working for at the time said, hey, you know, what's the deal? What? A page? Oh. So we started going through it or whatever, and she said, you know, bring your audio file in or whatever. So I brought it in, and everything was correct. He just changed all this stuff. It wasn't
Say
corrections, yeah. And that's what he was saying. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And the attorney was like, we want to, you know, we want to get a copy of that tape now. You can come in, we'll listen to it together, and I'll show you. And he came in, looked at his client, and his client was like,
What do you do with the errata sheet at that point? If it's, you can tell that they're doing that, do you just throw it out, you just keep it and make a separate note that's saying?
I really don't, I mean, because it's been like 20-something years ago.
Because that was my question, we were going over that, I was
And
like, what happened
I
if
don't
somebody's
remember,
just trying to
you know,
change it to get what they want?
exactly what we did, and I think we had to put something on the record and add to that thing. That this guy was making all the changes, so we had to get both sides, both attorneys in there to do it. I mean, it was ridiculous, but everything was there.
Did you get
You know,
paid
and I
extra?
knew, I was like, there's no way I made that many mistakes, there's no way.
So normally it's like one or two, hopefully.
Yeah, and you know, you put, sea breeze as one word, when it was 2 words on the street. Really?
Oh, well.
It, you know, stuff like that, you know, but whatever. 2, a reporting firm or agency may require that a reporter produce the backup audio media unless ordered to do so by a court. Absolutely. That's your work product. You know, so attorneys say, yeah, I'm gonna need a copy of that tape. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're not getting that.
You never release it, you only
No.
make them order a copy?
Mhm. Yeah. 3, if the reporter decides to release the backup audio media, the reporter shall release a copy and not the original. Absolutely. Do not let, you know, that original go. Okay? 4, if the reporter makes available a copy of the backup audio media to one party, the same offer must be made to the other party to the proceeding. Yes. Reporters should check all applicable local, state, and federal laws, rules, and regulations to ensure that creating a backup audio media is in compliance with those laws. 6, if a reporter uses backup audio media, it should be preserved upon request by any party to the proceeding for the same period of time for which a reporter's notes are preserved. Absolutely. You know, so you have to save those same files the same way as you would your notes. So, that makes sense?
Isn't it basically all in one now, when you save your Eclipse file, once you import the wave and the file and they join together, isn't it basically just one, or you always save them separately and then make?
No,
one?
it's all one.
Okay.
But you can save it, I guess. I guess you can import, export that WAV file itself. So,
Didn't understand what they meant by value-added service.
value-added service? Where?
For Part B, that was my question. Value-added service, or why you would use it.
Yeah, I don't think it adds more value.
No.
It doesn't add more value, you just order the
If the
transcript.
reporter or member offers backup as a value-added service, all parties would be advised prior to the start of the proceeding.
What do you need to know?
No.
There's a question mark by the whole, giant question mark by the whole section.
Yeah. upon is provided as a value-added
It's not
service.
adding value.
No. Any questions about that section?
That was my question. What
Okay.
is a value-added service?
Professionalism, associations, testing, and continuing education. Objectives. Discuss the word professionalism as it relates to the career of court reporting. Discuss the various court reporting associations, including the NCRA. Discuss testing and continuing education as they relate to the field of court reporting. Define what is meant by individual agency testing, state testing, and national examinations as they relate to the field of court reporting. Professionalism is the quality of having high standards that one follows in his or her career and the ability to work with great skills in one's occupation. A professional is distinct from an amateur in many respects. 10 qualities that differentiate the professional court reporter from the neophyte are as follows. 1, a professional court reporter is conscious about doing a good job and will not be satisfied with shoddy or half-hearted work. Absolutely. And I think I told you guys, I'm not saying I'm the best editor or, scoper or whatever, but it's my work. And my name is going out on that transcript, so if I make a mistake, I know that it's on me. It's not on somebody else, okay? Now, I have somebody that does and proofreads my work, so, and even when she makes corrections, I go through and I'll read the whole thing to see if it changes the meaning of that work. Absolutely.
So you only have a proofreader and not a scopist?
Yeah, I don't use a scopist.
What's, aside from, I guess, maybe pay, what's the difference between a proofreader and a scopist?
About 60 cents a page.
Plus the scopist is actually
Going through
going through doing the untranslates.
editing.
Right, proofreading is just reading through.
Proofreading is just reading the English, but a scopist also reads the steno?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So they're going to, if you put new briefs in there, they're going to know that, oh, this is a brief that she used or he used for this or whatever, and they're going to be able to put stuff in your dictionary, change words, make sure that speaker identifications are correct, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. I'm not quite sure, because I've never really used a scopist, but I think the going rate is like $1 a page. And like the proofreader that I use, I pay her like 40 cents a page. But you can do.
I've heard that as a new reporter, it's a really wise idea to invest in a proofreader to check your work.
Oh, yeah.